So we're live. Welcome everybody at the Innovation Café. The mics are for the live streaming. I will try to upper my voice, so you can all hear it. That's a good thing. Welcome everybody here at the Eindhoven Innovation Café. I'm Anne Moon. I'm the founder of Catharina and also the founder of the Innovation Café, and I'm really proud that you're all here. We're starting off a new season, hopefully in September. So this is a pilot with the Innovation Café, and I'm happy to present the people that I'm working with on the project. So let's go.
Welcome everybody. My name is Charlotte. I'm a designer and I will talk everybody through this tonight. But first of all, I would like to present our team, our work group. So first of all, Anne-Moon, who are you? What is your role? And what do you do as a profession?
I'm a designer and I'm really proud of my colleagues, and that's why I founded the Catharina. I think it's important that more people know about the power of design, and for the next period of time I really want to give my energy to fueled by the power of design to create a more nature inclusive world. And this is a beautiful project, and I think to give this a little more tangibility.
I think the nature inclusive is like one of the things that us really combine, also connect to each other. Stan.
Absolutely. Shall I take this one?
That's
then
better, because otherwise I'm just...
I take this one, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Charlotte. I've got a double role. I've got two roles. One is that I've got a permaculture farm at my place, which is run by Jessica, who's in the room. And that's the design. Permaculture is designing with nature for food production. So that's the mainly, so that's one role. Okay. And that's very good for the soil. And for the soil, I also present, my other role is the Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management, Rijkswaterstaat, where I work. And we are taking much care of the soil as well. Not everybody thinks that we do that, but we do that, of course, in close cooperation with other government institutions.
Thank you. Marius.
Yes, my name is Marius Mone. I also have two roles, maybe more, but I want to talk about two. I'm really interested in systemic change in the food system, both on the demand side, but also on the supply side. And for that last bit, I work at the Avans University of Applied Sciences in a research group where we work on robots that can support nature-inclusive, biodiverse cultivation systems. And I believe that we need more of those to really go towards sustainable food systems. So I also work with pioneers like Jessica and others to get inspired how we can support those farmers to produce food in a sustainable way in a larger scale than just everything by hand. So that's what I do there. And the next role is I've also set up a cooperative, which wants to be a cooperative for an area between Tilburg and Eindhoven, where we work on these kind of things, also with Stan and others. First to preserve water there, but then also more sustainable ways of producing food.
Thank you, Marius. Anton.
Thank you all for waiting for me. Sorry why I'm late. There was a lot of traffic on the road. It was 2.5 hours drive. Anton François, I'm interim manager advisor at the Catharina Hospital here in the city, responsible for food and beverage. I have also two roles or more. That's one role. The second role is I'm one of the founders of Stichting Eten en Welzijn, we call it in Dutch. It's a foundation where we try to enthusiast all the health business in the Netherlands, so elderly homes, physical hospitals, normal hospitals, to get better food in their hospitals. So we last start a new project, and I also do that in the Catharina Hospital, to get patients better food, which comes from better grounds with better farmers, to to give them better health, and maybe they stay shorter in the hospital, and they change their lifestyle when they go further in their lives. That's my ambition.
Nice. Yeah, and also my role. As you heard, my name is Charlotte. I'm a designer. I have a design studio based in Eindhoven, Studio Oak. And my role, asking questions, being interested in everything that you have to tell me, all the knowledge that you have. Sometimes I feel like I'm the luckiest girl ever, being a sponge, you know? You give me so much information and I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it. What is also very interesting is what kind of challenge that we gave us. Anemoon.
So I think it was more or less during the design week.
It's better if you stand over there because otherwise we don't see.
Okay.
Yeah.
You as well, Antoine? Because thanks.
So it was more or less during the Dutch Design Week that we started to talk to each other, and then we were all very enthusiastic about food, and we really feel the urge to change the food system. But yeah, as a designer, I don't have the knowledge, but I do have a beautiful network. So within a couple of get-togethers, we decided that we set the aim on feeding 10,000 people during the Dutch Design Week with regional food that comes from really local food that also adds up to biodiversity, to health, and to more nature inclusivity, of course.
What I also find very interesting is like, why did we put it in an experiment to accomplish this in 1 year, actually during Dutch Design Week?
Yeah, the project is not that small, but also not that big. And for these kinds of experiments, you need to have a really practical goal. And we thought 10,000 mouths is really like practical. This everyone can sort of, it's kind of abstract, but it's also kind of, knowledgeable. And then as a designer, what I do, I always take a look at the chain. And so we started all to unravel the chain and the chain of the chain and see where the embodied energy is. And that's how we started to talk, and we got a bit enthusiastic.
Yeah, really enthusiastic, to be honest. Yeah, and what is also interesting is that because of setting it as a goal for in a year, you also have like two paths that are created, kind of. So one is like the path of the goal, the practical goal. Can we feed 10,000 mouth in during Dutch Design Week? I look at Anton, it's like 4,500 kilos of food. So that's a lot. So someone also needs to produce it. And it's not only producing it in the ground, it goes further. But we will talk about that further later on. Otherwise, I've told everything already. But we also have like the creative path. You know, just the things that we find, the riddles that we find, the questions that we find, and just start to explore. And they come back to the other part. But sometimes that's a bit of a longer journey. Yeah,
and maybe why we are here today is that we feel that we need to present the project and to talk to people and to broaden the network so we can really set a movement. Because with the four of us, we know a lot, but we don't know anything. And then, when we want to get this going, then we need way more people to team up with the project and to go for it.
Yeah. So this is also a start of building our public, huh?
Yeah.
Building our audience.
Yeah,
and,
audience, but also network, and we need more people to team up, and willing to achieve this because it's quite a lot, 4,500 kilos of food. Yeah. And then,
Anemoon, I have a question for you. How is the soil under the Kaserne?
Yes, that's a good question. The Kaserne was built in 1825, so we have almost 200 years of the buildings here. Mm-hmm. And when we got a chance to restaurate it, to renovate it, we couldn't roer what's that in English? Stir the ground. So it was quite a challenge to have this hotel that has a lot of challenges and a lot of needs. Of course, the plumbing and so on that was a real challenge to get it in the ground and not to stir it. Yeah, so, yeah.
Interesting. Well, the soil is quite a big topic for us. And also, it's also in the name, because we have like Biotope Brainport. Because, yeah, we have a challenge to produce local food. Stan, you know much more about that. Well, and also much more about the region, because we choose for 15 kilometers from the Catharina Church. Yeah. We thought that's the middle of the center of the... And your garden, where is your...
my garden is in Oorschot. So this is Eindhoven. Huh? This is Oorschot, is the A58.
Oh, sorry, Jessica, also your garden, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We run it together, you know. And it's about here. Mm-hmm. So this is the Mortelen. This is the middle of het Groene Woud. I don't know whether people know this. Eindhoven, Tilburg, Den Bosch. But here's a farm. And, excuse me? The Van Gogh-streek, yeah. Vincent van Gogh National Park. And I grew up in this little town, Winterlee. So every day, now for 57 years, I lived a short time abroad, I walked on the sandy soils. This is all sandy soil. It's sandy soil. So
it's all sandy soil.
It's all sandy soil, yeah.
And what can you tell us more about the ground and the region?
Well, that it is a sandy soil, and sandy soils are poor soils, not a lot of nutrients in them. Mm-hmm. So when you want to harvest food from a sandy soil, you have to do something. So, and for ages or centuries, we have fertilized the soil with all kinds of animal manure together with organic matter. So the potstallen, I don't know the English term, but we have got a very long history in getting the soil ready for food production. And one of the latest insights is that you don't even need animal manure always to have a very good soil. And that experiment we started at our farm. We call it at the permaculture farm. And there we call it vegan farming. It's a bit hip term, but actually it's about growing food without fertilizers, without pesticides, with organic manure. So it's like mycelia and...
And do you have like animals on your farm?
I've got a few chickens myself and a few sheep, but in the garden where we grow the vegetables, the vegetables and the fruit, hard fruit and soft fruit, there's no animal manure at all. Okay. So actually we do that not because we don't like animal manure, we don't like animals. I love animals a lot, but it's because it's very good for the soil. When you put animal manure on the soil, the plants get dependent on this animal manure. So when they like it and they grow fast, but at the same time, they have also a connection with the fungi in the soil. So the roots, when you got a... Marius, can you hold this?
Yes.
Like, this is the soil, you know? And here are the roots of the plant, and this is the plant. And here are the fungi, the schimmels, mycelium. And these are interconnected. The roots and the mycelium are interconnected. So when the plant takes up nutrients, he says like, I don't need you anymore, this mycelium. Because the plant, the mycelium feeds the plant with sugars and also with water. So it entangles, how you call it? It makes the roots longer. So also these systems are more climate adaptive, can better adapt to high droughts and also to more wet periods. Yeah. Is that a little bit clear?
It's very clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I love when you do that.
Okay,
when you talk like that. Yeah, because that's very inspiring. You know, you want to know more about it.
Yeah.
What is also really interesting about our work group is that there are like many of more different kind of way of farming, also different kind of theories, huh? Yeah. And they don't all agree, but on one way they also do, and that's when when you talk about health and nutrition. I think. Can we go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Thank you, Stan. Yeah. This is actually my topic.
What is yours?
Yeah, I'm also part of the group.
I hope I'm out.
So, yeah. My topic is about nutrition, and where to start? Well, I found this research that if you eat potatoes in August, September, where they are harvested, you have the full amount of nutrients. But when you eat them in 6 months later, the nutrients of vitamin C becomes 60% less. And in 3 months is 30% less of vitamin C. This was just a simple research that I found. And I was really surprised by it, because we as consumers, you know, that's also a role. I'm also a consumer. I have no idea. And I feel like that I'm eating healthy and that I feed my children healthy foods. So I was really surprised, like, what's going on? And to be honest, there's also another reason why I'm very interested in nutrition and also in health. My daughter has diabetes type 1, so I'm very aware of carbohydrates. If you ever want to go on a carbohydrate diet, please call me. I know everything about carbohydrates. I know which one go fast, which one go slow, what it does with your blood sugar, but also what it does with your physical mentality. Because when her blood sugars are like really high, she's hyper. She is also like really annoying for me. But she feels like she's having her period, but then like 10 times a day. So for her, it's like really hard to manage that. So for that reason, when she was in the hospital, sorry Anton, now I have to tell another really nice story about the hospital. In the Catharina ziekenhuis, she was there and she was really sick, and for a week she was there, and we got food from the hospital. But the food was like so poor, in my opinion, because I'm how do I say, a healthy cooker. I try to eat healthy as possible, enough vegetables, not so much sugars. But in the hospital, I was surprised about the food, how bad it was. I was even on the point that I thought, you know what, I cook myself and I bring it to the hospital. And we also came home with, the things you don't want to take home because you liked it. Like every morning, do you want pasta on your sandwich? No, she has diabetes. Please do not. Cheese is carbohydrate free. But what we got in the hospital was a book called the Eettabel. It's a book with all the nutritions in it of all the food. This is my Bible now. But because of this project, I was also very curious, like, how do we get these numbers? Where do we get them from? So Marius and I started digging, and we came back to the RIVM. It's a National Health and Environment Association. And they have like this big database online with all the numbers in there. And we were searching for the potato, because the potato is like our muse. We do everything with the potato. So we searched for the potato, and we found out that the research about the nutrition for the potato was from 1983. So we were surprised, like, I'm depending on this book with this nutrition, but the research is done in 1983. How is that possible? So we were also curious, like, what does it mean? Because what does it do for the quality of the soil? Is the soil quality the same now as it was in 1983? Is there a difference then in nutrition nowadays, or how it's built? So you came up with Dan Cattridge. He's connected to University in America, Massachusetts, I think. Yeah. And he created this machine. It's still in a study phase, I guess. That you can put in nutritions, and then you will find out all the nutrition's values. So we want to try to get the machine here, buy potatoes everywhere, and see if there's a difference, how they're grown, and if there's a difference in nutrition. We think it is, but we also want to show it in visible research. So, yeah.
At the DDW.
Huh?
At the DDW.
At the DDW, yeah. DDW. DDW is even more fun. DD Wobble, yeah. Yeah. Well, now because I'm part of the group now, I totally forgot. What were we talking about? Yeah. The potato we were talking about. Yeah, and the 4,500 kilos of food.
Yeah.
Anton, this is your subject.
Yes.
Because we did research together. We were analyzing what is like the keten, the chain, thank you, of the potato. Not only how it grows, because that's one part. We found out that there are like 2, 3 more chains before it's on your plate in the hospital.
Yeah.
This is actually chain 2, the production.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So we started already 4,500 kilos of food when you have to deliver 10,000 meals. Depends how many potatoes you use for that, but let's start with 100 grams. So that's a lot of potatoes. And that chain is going this way. When it's produced, there is somebody who has to wash it before when it's come from the fields. When it has to be pulled, it has to be selected, it has to be packaged, all kinds of energy, electricity. Yep. You see the science, people are involved, water is involved. So it costs a lot of energy in all kinds of stages to fix that potato every step further to the hospital. And when it comes to the hospital, there starts another chain to produce. So we are now trying to make all this kind of pictures to get one big map of only the potato.
Yeah.
Huh?
Also to get insights. Huh?
Yeah.
So for example, I found out that if you want to produce one potato, it takes you for 1 kilo 100 liters of water. If you want to create 1 kilo of chips, it costs you like 1,040 liters of water. So the chain behind the production, so the production chain, is also a very important chain. Yeah. That's something that I really learned from you. Yeah. Also in the hospital. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's one of my ambitions. I told by my introduction. So when we can show what's happening with potato or other vegetables or meat, what's the impact for all our fuels, water, what we have to do for ourselves in all that kinds of change. We can show what the CO2 production is to make a plate, which we aim to present in the Dutch Design Week, what it has cost on CO2. Yeah.
But what I also find interesting, and that's really your topic, is also the process.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just think like, okay, what kind of soil do we have? What kind of potatoes can we grow on sandy ground? Where do I get it? But it's also like really hard to get this amount of food produced, but also in the end on the plate. So time is also very important in this chain.
Yeah.
And also the way it's produced. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, first the season, so it will be more and more important to present meals what is connected to the season. So what you told in the introduction, about the potato, we eat the whole year the potato, but vitamins decrease. Nutrition that stays constantly, but that's another thing. But when you have all that kinds of amounts, in those days we are all in an economic situation that all is built on production. And when we want to change that, so that we hear to the farmers, we hear to the season, we hear to the volumes he can produce, like the way Stan told us, and then we can make more and better food, which more quality, with more nutrition, which will help in the hospital the patient, but also us as the normal consumers to stay healthy and to have a better condition. That's
so sometimes we fight, huh?
Yeah.
And
but
discuss about it.
That's part of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But there's also another part that we really need in this process, and that's technology and the farm of the future, Marius. Yeah. Here we see...
As a matter of fact, I just came from the farm of the future in Lelystad, but I had a bit fewer delays on the way to get here than you. But yeah, you wanted to introduce something.
Yeah, because I think this is a very interesting work. You actually know her, huh, the artist?
Yes.
I just found this as inspiration, send it to you, and you
said,
oh, I know her.
Spela Petric.
Yeah. Can you tell me what's going on here?
It is a while ago that I saw this and heard her explain it, but what I really liked is that she kind of plays with the plant. So what plants do, I think this is a cucumber plant, and it's a climber. And plants, just like babies, they have these not conscious movements to just try what they can do. Plants do the same. They just try and see where they can just clutch something to grow against. And she filmed that and then made it fast forward. So you can see this movement, and then I forgot how she did it, but she tried to influence that movement, so it became kind of a dance. It was really nice.
I know how she did it. She
yeah.
built a machine, to be honest,
Yeah.
actually with AI.
Yeah.
And so she learned how they moves, and she created literally a dance with AI around it, so that they could move together.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah. But that's also something what is the connection with you?
Yeah.
That's actually the question.
So what I really don't like is building machines, robots that make things more efficient or less bad. I think we need to do these things. We need to hurry up with that, but I'm not inspired by that. I think we need to build robots that can make it possible to build really nature-inclusive, very productive systems where you put nature at the front. So like the permaculture farms that we have, where you not only have herbaceous, one annual plants, crops, but you also introduce shrubs and trees who will be there permanently and can make way more nutritious food there with the fruits that they grow there. But also, where Stan was talking about the mycelium and all the things, the good thing about shrubs and trees is because they're permanently there, they really build a relationship with the soil and with the mycelium. So you need to combine these things, and if you then add still animals with these multi-annual plants, then you really get a very interesting system. And there's a very good reason why we don't do that, because you don't need to do everything by hand. We don't have any agro machines for that. Agro machines are expensive, and you can only afford them if you have a business model where you can produce all these volumes that you were talking about. So we have machines for monocultures, for just one thing in a very big field. And these fields, they attract pests and diseases, so you don't even use pesticides and herbicides when you have curatively, but systematically, preventatively. So you spread it all the time. Well, we really, that helped us for some time, but now we get systemic problems. So I want to move away from that. And too many people don't buy into completely locally grown food by hand. We need to invite more people to get to that. And that's why I'm trying to find what kind of machinery do those farmers need to make it more feasible to scale it up. Not per se to make bigger farms, but more farms who can deliver these things in a region to hospitals, to people at home, where you have really nutritious food, not where the farmer is not paid by the kilo, but for the nutrient content, because that's what it's all about. Yeah. And we can't measure that very well yet, but then Cambridge is developing that now. Also Maastricht University, Wageningen, more and more are really waking up to that and trying to develop that. And then you really have a good measurement what farmers are doing better. And I really believe that these more permaculture-like, food forest-like, agroforestry-like will produce more nutrients than others, and also less improved crops, but more older crop variants.
But this is more of the future, of course.
Yes.
And we have to deliver the Catharina ziekenhuis during
exactly.
the DDW.
I can hardly play a role in the short time things with robots. But I'm very interested in making people aware of that it is really hard to get very nutritious food in the current system. Yeah. Also at the volume that is needed to feed all these 10,000 people or a whole hospital, and for a hospital also with all the security levels and the reliability that it will always be there. So from there we can learn that it's really important to make these steps towards technology to be able to do these things better and more in the future.
Thank you. As you can hear, we have lots and lots and lots of inspiration and things to talk about. I have one last thing, because after this we will have some drinks and we can discuss more themes further and also go more in depth. Annemone, this is actually, because that's where I want to end with, the inspiration in one sentence, or something that you've learned doing this project. Annemone.
Yeah, I think while talking together, what struck me was that we don't need to better the system, but we need a new system. And for this, we need to talk to each other and see how we can get it going. There was a movie, I remembered, that there was a traffic jam, and then there was a radio show, and someone said, and now in 3, 2, 1, you are all gonna hit your gas again. And then when everyone did, there was no traffic jam anymore. So maybe that's also a kind of an inspiration. Yeah. I feel that we need to rethink that our total energy, like the chain from the chain and the chain. So when you think of a chair, a wooden chair, and all the energy that goes into this wooden chair, from the very smallest screw of the machinery that is needed to bring the little seed into the soil, until the screw in the chair itself, it needs so much energy that I hardly can believe that it costs just a few €100, or maybe you can even buy a chair for just €5. That's insane. When you start thinking about it, to have a really different system, this was for me an eye-opener.
Yeah.
Why not grow a chair from a plant?
Yeah, why cut the tree?
Yeah, why
make planks out of it and then create the chair?
Yeah, but also before you can harvest a tree, this is already, there are so many machines involved, and this is also a way of creating a chair. And for me, this is what we need to rethink, and how open we need to start this debate. And yeah, I would like to invite you to join us in this debate, and to help us with your network, with what we call here in Catharina wisdom, work, or wealth. What can you do to get this going? If I may just, what also, the nutrition part, that was something that we dived into a lot. And to be aware that this potato has also this really different nutritions now than 30 years ago, that's something that's really interesting to dive into. So one of the next events will be about the poop and the dharma, the digestion, on how this comes together, and because everything starts and ends with poop. Yeah. So that's another topic we like to touch. We like to move on every last Thursday of the month to talk about this topic together. I hope next time we already doubled the visitors. And then, in the meanwhile, when you want to team up, just drop a line at office@catharina.com and join us.
Yeah. And what is also very interesting to know for the next, we will also invite experts, doctors, maybe Jessica one day, to also talk about their theme and the things that they did research about. Yeah.
And I even can hardly believe that no one did this before. So when we find a proof that there are way more of these projects, let's team up and go beyond there.
There must be many already.
Yeah. Are there any questions? Or yes?
To remark and question.
I will repeat it. Yeah. Oh, you can. Yeah, I will repeat your question. Don't worry. Sorry.
Two remarks and a question. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to read the book "How the World Really Works" by Catharina.
Yeah.
That there's a lot about the energy requirements.
Is it
everything we do
Is it okay if I repeat it? Yeah, because it's also for the viewers. You recommended the book, How Things Are... Sorry. How the World Really Works. Who is the writer? Bakraf Smil. Okay.
That tells everything about the energy consumptions and the illusions to go from like petrochemicals to sustainable everything, and you will learn a lot about the energy.
Okay, so there's a lot about sustainable systems written in that book.
Or at least you will get a very precise understanding of how things are.
Thank you.
Like eating a kilo of bread is like 2 tablespoons of diesel, and 1 kilo of shrimps is 10 liters of diesel. Sometimes.
Yeah, nice. And the second remark? I'm curious now.
Yeah, about these trees, there is a traditional way of growing trees in Japan that's called daisugi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To cut trees without cutting trees. We use their roots. That's something also very inspirational to reform the systems.
So there is a traditional way of trees, daisugi? Daisugi, sorry. Yeah?
And you grow trees, you use the timber of the trees, but you don't cut the trees.
Oh, wow.
Ah, wow.
So investigate.
So you grow the trees, but you don't cut them. Yeah,
Use
but
the timber of the trees,
and you can still use the timber of the trees. Yeah, great.
and they regenerate. Yeah, so the question is a very basic question. What do you call inclusive, nature inclusive systems? The basic question.
I think that's more of a question for you, Stan.
Yeah. Well, nature inclusive system for me, it's a regenerative system. It's like producing, in our case, food, and at the same time, soil, water, and air gets better, and biodiversity grows. And it can be done because we are doing that. Jessica is doing that.
I think the basics are like very simple. If you borrow something from someone, you give it back in the same state as you got it and used it. And I think that's the basis.
Well,
At
actually,
least.
At least you get it better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
at
better.
least. Yeah,
That's for me the most interesting part.
making it better.
Because we think we are bad to nature, but I think we can enrich nature. People,
I
we.
agree.
Okay.
So I think it's a good question, because nature inclusive is a more of a cupola, where this interpretation is a more specific one, regenerative. You want to make the environment better. You also have people who want to be sustainable, they just keep it the way it is. And some people include nature, but they still extract. And that's all nature inclusive, according to some people. But we're on this end, regenerative.
Are there more questions or tips or remarks? Or we can also go for a drink and talk further.
Maybe one addition.
Mhm.
Anybody know, does everybody know Menno Smit and his PhD thesis and later on the book about a sustainable agriculture in 2040? And what I really found amazing there, he says many things, but his main point is that agriculture is not efficient. Agriculture is efficient in terms of labor cost. If you look at energy efficiency, it is strange that the one sector that should be energy positive is agriculture, because there's photosynthesis there. There the energy is stored from the sun in combination with CO2. You get all kinds of carbohydrates. Also the sugars to exchange with the mycelium. There's a whole market there based on sugar. But we don't. We produce less energy in agriculture than we need to grow it, because of all the machinery and mainly also fertilizer that is made from fossil fuels. So he shows a path how we could do that. And yeah, we could only do this because energy was very cheap. But energy will be more and more costly, as also this guy in his book will make clear, I suppose. So from that view, that also really helps why we should move more towards these systems where you include more shrubs and trees. Because somebody made the comparison with, suppose ASML, really a huge company, creates lots of value for the whole world. If we would do something similar as what we do with herbaceous crops in agriculture, then every year we would tear down all the buildings of ASML, build it up anew, and then produce. That's quite stupid, isn't it? So if you introduce shrubs and trees where you have multi-annual plants who really build, and then at some point, particularly trees, they become productive after 7 years usually, and then they really provide nutritious food in abundance. That is what ASML does. But yeah, we tear down ASML every time and then produce. Yeah, then you need lots of energy to get that going. Maybe we should change the system.
What was the name of this movie? The Biggest Little Farm?
Yeah.
Is it The Biggest Little Farm?
Yeah.
That's where it's about. It's the experiment that they did.
Similar.
You really see it. It's a really
Yeah.
easy movie. Also fun to see during the night. Not so heavy, but also inspiring. Yeah. Well, yeah. Are there more questions? Oh, there were no questions. You wanted to talk.
Yes.
Yeah. I think then.
Yeah, so we are happy to meet you at the bar, and for everyone who wants to join us for dinner, we serve a healthy meal for 1950 euros, and then you can join us at the table if you want to, and we can talk and get more in depth.
Okay.
Thank you
so much.
Hey, you're still here. So you like the video. If you want, subscribe and click the bell.